Hello, guys. Welcome to the streaming. Today no voice changer. So you'll be hearing my original voices. I want to do voice changer, but never mind. I I freak my laptop cannot handle. Hello, Fusine. Hello, Darius. Hello, Gami. Hello, Dang. Welcome, everyone. Selamat malam semua. Good night. Kenapa tak tidur lagi? Why you guys not sleeping yet? What do you mean you? Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna stream anymore. Tak apa. Cancel streaming. Bye. I got you. Bye bye. Annyeong. Oh, and it's. I'll be playing Nikki. I don't know how long I'll be able to stream before it start to disconnect and connect again my internet. But seems so far it seems fine. Yeah. Romaso, thank you. You can blame Ogami by that. Ogami say you to me. I feel hurts. You know? I'm hurts. Guess how she scam? No, I did not scam anyone. No. You hurt my feeling. I hurt
Every
you
fish
guys.
in the sea is the one for me, Z Sambung.
Sambung. No. Every fish in the sea, the one for me. I see so free. Kan? Like that, right? Tak mau kita. I I thought you guys don't want me. Why me? Why me? Come on, guys. Maju adu. Don't maju. I'm trying to pull here. Trying to pull the necklace, guys. Padahal Mama, you are streaming, right? Apa? Destiny? This apa tadi? I saw you streaming. I see. Gabi na hilang. No, my mods come back. I'm not going away, guys. I'm here. Okay, I'm still here. Aduh. Nabila mods merajuk. Betul tadi nampak. I know I was busy, but yeah, sorry for inactivity. Hey, it's fine if you guys are busy. It's fine. Don't need to force yourself to be online. I was also like being offline for what 1 month, and I'll be trying. If it start to disconnect and connect again in 5 seconds, I just forget about streaming. I graduate je lah. Alright, guys. So hari tu yesterday right, I was streaming. Yesterday we been pulling for these clues. I think we only just pulled 10 resonance attempt 10 times. We will try until 140 because I want this. I have 250. 242. This one I don't know how many. How many is that? Let me check. I don't know what is this actually. I haven't do a lot of events. Other gacha game also I haven't do events. Now where is it? This one? Oh, this one I have 97. I have a lot. I have 300, guys. I haven't been pulling. Last time I pulled was I don't know which one was. Okay, let's pull. Let's pull for the mermaid clues. The mermaid clues, nice. Minta kartu satu PCV. Why don't you vouch for me? Thank you. Oh, I get the 5-star, I think. Can I skip? Can I skip? Never mind. I click very fast. Oh, I got the shoes, guys. The mermaid shoes. Let's go. I forgot to oh, Silent Reverie. I got the move. I forgot to show you guys the video. I think you guys can watch it. Right. Let me see. Watch the video, guys. It's very nice. You guys can hear the game, right? Yeah. It's so pretty. Hi, Flame. 안녕하세요. Welcome back to the stream. How are you? I want the black, this, you know, the wing clothes. Hey.
Abang,
Bang.
abang,
Bang.
50.
50. 50 bang. I want this clothes actually also, but I might wait for next banner. No, the feather clothes is very nice too, but the mermaid is also nice. Oh my god, I can't choose. The hair, guys, I love the hair. This is like evolutions. You need to pull more than 150 to get the full evolutions actually, unfortunately. Yes, this one you need, you can fly. This one is for flying. Now I see a lot of TikTok people, you know, use this one and they recolor it and become Robin and Sunday. Robin and Sunday clothes. I was like, wow, so creative. In Nikki players. For the mermaid, I did saw people do like Elsa, mermaid or mermaids, Ariel. The name is Ariel. Mermaids. Aku buat mermaid statue dekat wedding place. Oh my god. It wasn't yesterday we talked about duck. What? This is the mermaid, right? I think a lot of people pull for the flying costume, but I don't know. I want the mermaid. The mermaid kind of nice. I like the hair and the you know the kind, the skirts. The skirts. See, when I cosplay Nikki, I don't have finance to cosplay, guys. Oh, that is the costume. I don't have the finance for cosplay, guys. Unfortunately, so I won't be cosplaying in a long time if I don't get a job. Okay, guys. Nanti aku buat. That will be on site. You know, you know, the wedding place can have a lot of things. There's a duck, there's a mermaid, and what more? What more statue you want? Right, let's continue pulling. Our 30. You can skip this. Skip it. Skip. What happened if I escape? Ooh, I got a headpiece. Yesterday bloom. Quack. I'll come back. Just doing pulling session for Infinity Nikki. Let's go. I know a lot of you guys don't play Infinity Nikki. I don't know how many people playing. I know a lot of people doesn't play anymore. I think Daisy doesn't play anymore. Boy also not play, I think. The only one that plays is me and my sister actually. Skip. Oh, flawless softness. Oh, the clothes have stocking, you know. Okay, it's always, if you are lucky, you can get back to back 5-star. But I'm not such lucky. So me getting only 1 5-star. Can I be lucky? Can I? Oh, I did. I get back to back. I have 11 pieces mah. Banyak oh. So many. But how are you guys? Hope you guys have a good day today. I forgot to ask you guys. I just, you know, masuk, you know, start stream and then just just start pulling, because you know I just afraid if I talk much and then when I want to start the game, then it start to disconnect and connect. Oh my god! Yesterday was very, I tell you, yesterday was very very sad for me. I planned it so hard. Right, we already do 50 pulls. I can collect this actually. Climb over. No, I don't wanna. No, no, no. 60 pull. Because I already planned a lot for yesterday. I wanna show overlay and and tuck 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 tuck. And then no, it had to be. So sorry. I'm a bit bitter. Oh, I got full set. Rosy Reverie. Let's go. Okay. It look like a nightgown. No, not gonna lie. Tak dengar bunyi kuat dengar bung. Really? Sini? Oh, macam tu thank you for telling me. Contoh ni. Syarat janji. Oh, tak dengar Hai, Aki. Hello, kau seorang je dengar. Tu dah pasal. Tu dah pasal dia tahu tu. Link. Where is it? That is the audio. Property audio OBS. Alright. Where is it? Advanced. Can you try now? Wait, let me try. Now you guys try. Let me try. Sorry guys. Where is it? Where's the quack? I can't see the quack. Gomenasai minasan. Hold up. Do you guys hear the quack? Betul, nani betul. Suara innocent tapi kau pembaik. What do you mean innocent? Makan kaki. But I am always innocent. Yeah. Okay. Macam tu. If I like, I think I cannot. I don't really want it show on my screen actually. It's not matter how I do it. Okay, I put it outside of the frame. I just don't want a lot of thing on my screen. I'm sorry, I put a cooldown, so please don't spam. No spam. Don't spam. Did I miss any chat? Yeah, long time here because I have been hiatus a bit. For 1 month. Alright, we continue pulling 60. Our 70 pull. Let's go. I think we get the 5-star. Let's go. Our ear. Our gill. How much more? 6. 7 more. 7 means 70 pull. This one, if you like get one more round, this one you get the evolutions. I don't know what color of the evolutions. I didn't really look for it. Tak tengok details. Yeah. I mean, Nikki is a cozy game. Not gonna lie, but the gacha system, oh my god, it's hard. Oh, I got another one. It's really hard. You can be F2P. Just be like me. Don't pull for every clues. I just pick. Yeah, I get the poetic echo. Wait a minute. Yeah. I get the this one. after I got the blessing. After 5 time pulling and 5 time 5, the fifth 5 we will get this. How do I say it? You get this 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one you will get what you choose. I hope you guys understand. Okay, we continue. Hi Rafiq. What do you mean? Hello Rafiq, welcome to the stream. How are you? I'm not cute, but thank you. Now I'm shy. Skip that. Skadoosh. What game in Infinity Nikki? Darus. It's like close gacha game. If you know like mobile, that in the mobile there is a game called Shining Nikki. So this is like another Nikki game. Not Nikki, okay? Not the Nikki one, the Nikki Jigga Physics. No. That I don't play that one. That one is scary. Scary for me. Game tak ada character kan? No, tak ada. It's only Nikki. It's only you pull for clues. School. How much is that? 6, 4, 5. 5 more. 5 more, guys. 5 more pieces. I'm not getting double 5-star. Come on, give me double. If I get double 5-star, will be I'm saving a lot on my diamonds. My diamonds. Ada skin je kan? Yeah, clothes only. Character saja je kan? Yep. Either you get Nikki clothes or you can also get Momo clothes. No, the cat. Momo also have clothes. No worry, I can claim one. We already do 100 pull, guys. Wow, let's go. And by the way, I should use that one. I can claim. Okay, 110. Cuba terka satu sekali. Which one? This game. Okay, this game is a gacha clothes game. Clothes. Yo, what you wear. Okay. See, I'm pulling for clothes. There's only one character, Nikki, and her pet, Momo. Not pet, a companion like that. Bukan. And then what? Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean, Putune? Oh, I got a 5-star. Let's go. Fish kiss. Guys, how do fish kiss? No. Wrong question. Do you guys want a fish kiss? This is very scary. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very say so. Journey to tomorrow. I almost complete the second. Oh, wait, I got doubles. No chance. Let's go. Yay! Yeah, my diamonds. I saved my diamond. Wait, 3 times. Snow dream. Why got 3 times 5-star? Oh my god. Never in my life. I've been this lucky, guys. So let me screenshot a bit. Let me screenshot. My god. Oh my god. Oh, I'm not salmonella. What do you mean salmonella? Yang pasal boleh pilih apa yang kau nak lepas kali tu. Oh, that one is okay. There's a system named Echo. Okay. Echo. After you get the four first clues in that set, and the 5th one you will get the one that you choose. The same set lah, of course. So you'll be easier to get the full set. Faster get the full set. Dia ada boyfriend tak say so. What do you mean? Hey, having a boyfriend doesn't mean you can't be say so. Hello you, welcome to the stream. Hi you, Yoon. How are you? playing Infinity. How are you? What are you doing? What are you doing right now? Oh my god. But okay, wait. I need to do 20 more pool so I can get more. But will I get 20 in the 20 pool? Will I get full sets? And I just need 2 more, the hair and the clothes. The hair and the clothes, guys. Okay. Okay. 20 more pool. 20 more pool. Please be 5-star. Never mind. Maybe I get double of this. Double. We can get it double. 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 I know there's a 5-star here, but please double. Right, a hat. I love this sweater. It's so cute. It's a bee sweater. All set. Fresh film. Silent Reverie, right? This one, evolution complete. I feel like it's only one. Alright, because now the hair. Oh no. No, what earring is there? Pom pom? Okay. Only 10 more pool. But I get Momo clothes already. So cute. Momo clothes, no. Show me again. So cute, right? Okay, terangkan. 99 kali. Ay, sini. No, yang merah. Last pool, I think. We think. Am I getting a 5-star? No, I didn't. Never mind. Skip it. Okay, we do one by one pool. I think is the best thing. But then, I will get this. This one is evolution, right? Never mind. No. I don't think that's it. Wait, is that? What is this actually? Oh, maybe decoration. Oh, photo shooting. Never mind. I don't know how to read. It's used for photo shootings. Okay, decoration. Should I? Yeah, I should. So if you want like full set evolution, this one is the evolution ones. Can be used to evolve the snow ballad outfit to another color. 180. Never mind. 230. Never mind. Alright, 10 more. Never mind. I just get the decoration. Right. Now we get the hair. The hair, guys. Oh my god. Melting snow. But this one I just got lucky because I got 3 5-star. Alright. I got it full set. Snowy bullets. Let me screenshot. Otomatic, guys. My button is very far away. Okay, skip. Now, come on. Momo ke pamai. Momo is cute. In cold mode, interact with eternal snow dew. Glamping mode. Play in solo or invite. Oh, okay, got it. You can take picture together. Let's go. After using the default water walking ability, Nikki will gradually walk across water frozen beneath her feet. School of fish will follow her footsteps. Ooh, very cute. Playfully leaping around the hem of her dress. While in companion journey, Nikki can walk hand in hand with a companion, or even greater sketch of ice. The default water walking ability cannot be used in steep stream, waterfall, and water sprout. Oh, okay. Using the ability again to melt the ice manually. Please note that the ice will also melt naturally after a certain period of time, even without manual input. Got it. Oh, after using the mirror whimsical ability, mirror on the wall. It's the cutest of the all. I'm sorry, guys. Kenapa depan? Hi. That's not. It's a mermaid, ma. You ever see mermaid wear clothes? I mean, wear full t-shirt, ah. Baju kurung. Wow, a Malay mermaid wearing baju kurung. Okay. Can be a very nice idea. Skill. I can try, test it. Right. This is my casual, I like this style cruise. Let me see. Number one. You can see. A mermaid. They have a new system actually. No, not like that. How do? Yeah.
We've been going all night. The sun's coming up.
Oh wait, I forgot to change Momo wardrobe. Okay, this is Momo, and Momo has a lot of clothes. You have the pink one. This is my favorite. It's so cute. And you have this one. It's a fairy one, and this one is Mojo Momo. It's very handsome Momo. And then the thumbs up Momo. Give a thumbs up, guys. And then we have the rainy Momo. This one is free. So cute. And then the new one is the snow Momo. Let's try the snow Momo. Oh, the Momo so cute. See? Oh, sorry. That one we change to ability cruise. So ability, you can set here actually. Set up. Okay. This one is the firework. There has a lot of ability cruise. You can change it. How do I change the ability? I don't know, guys. I will know later. I will know. Evolutions. This one is evolutions I was talking about. You can change color. This one is the primary. This is the second evolution. So cute. It's so red. It's nice of the glitter. On the boyfriend Nikki doesn't have a boyfriend. And by the way, for your guys' information, Nikki is a lesbo. In Shining Nikki, I think in Shining Nikki or other Nikki game, she is what people use WLW. Yeah, WLW, guys. The term Gen Z use WLW. So no, she doesn't have boyfriends. This one, wow, the yellow one is nice. It's like a royalty. Pasta basah tu apa? What is pasta basah? WLW, walau no, not walau WLW is woman like woman. Or in the lesbo lah. So I don't know. That is another game. I don't know about this one. I like the red one. The red one is nice. Yeah, it's the evolutions, but I'm not rich to do evolution. This one have evolution, so let's go. Unlock. Ooh. Wait, this it's giving the vibe of a Christmas winter. Momo. I'm sorry, I banned that word. Skip horror. I banned that word, Miska. I can say, but you guys can't. Apa beza dengan lawe? No, tak ada beza. Just like Gen Z like having new catchphrase, everything like that. That's their new catchphrase. So yeah, you got the new clothes. Just forget about that. We'll end up other because let's. I'm gonna try. How do I walk? How do how do I walk? How do I do this skill, guys? How do? No, I'm not doing firework. Switch outfit. Wait. How do I do this? Ming. Ability. How do I change the ability? Oh. Ah, okay. Okay, I see. Woo. Woo. I'm Elsa, guys. Let it go, let it go. I want to be in the sky. Let it go. How long can I walk in water? Oh wait, there's a bar. Hello kids, I can walk in water. You shall be freeze to death. Oh, it's raining, guys. Alright, fine. Couldn't tell me what do you mean? Aduh, apa benda tu pusu ni? A lot of the words I banned word, guys. Let it go. When I tried, whoosh, it's very icy. Kids, are you okay? Aren't you freezing, kids? What are you catching fish in a frozen lake for? I know. I can still walk. Oh, now how do I unmelt this? But is it can?
Nikki, if you go any further, you'll lose me.
Oh, guys, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. By the way, Nikki cannot swim. She would die in water. That's why Momo is very worried. Ah, now how do you? Oh, like that. Oh, okay. Let's try again, guys. This time we show to this kid how to be an Elsa. Kid, watch me. Ooh, the sunlight is very nice. We'll let it go. Ooh. Aduh. This is, it's quite long. The walking. Unfortunately, I don't have companion to play with. I play alone. I'm sad. Ooh, nice view. Let me view. Let me view it. I cannot view. Help Momo. Oh, Momo is fine. Little kitty. Ooh. Wait. Oh, I can zoom. Wait, cuto mati. Sorry. I like it. That person also have the same blues. Alright. How do I? Oh, it's Angelica. Yeah. There are also other clues. I haven't seen this one. This one is the robbery clues. Let me see. Is it a musical? Whimsical? I don't really know much about whimsical. Whimsical thing. Let me try this. Save it. Wait, is it? Wait. How do I reach? I've been playing this game, but I don't really know how to read ability. Okay, how do I read ability? Okay, okay. Amid the reflection in the mirror, amidst the mirror expression, she paused and uncovered uncharted face of herself. How do I find the mirror? I don't know. What kind of mirror am I supposed to look at? Never mind. Oh wait, let me change my clothes back. Let me change my mermaid. I spent a lot on his. Oh wait, not that one. It's coming outside. This one. I spent a lot pulling this. Sorry, I'm just collecting some fruits, like Momo. Yes, it's an open world, guys. Hey, by the way, why you guys not sleeping yet? It's already 12. I might end soon. Because I'm just doing task stream. It seems my internet is fine. It seems, alhamdulillah. Is it whimsical? Yes, I saw. I already do all my dailies actually. So, when I say all my gacha game, I already do dailies. What is this? What is this? Oh, find a path to musical, right? Whee! Where am I supposed to go? Oh, never mind. Never mind. Cuta mata, guys. Hey, I feel like. Hey, Mama, let's go. Let's. Ow! Eat tight. You guys didn't see that. Okay. Walai, I like the meat. Have you guys ever clip anything that I do? Feel free to share in the chat. Oh, go down. Oh, wee. A nice clip if you have. Oh, I see an enemy. I hear enemy. If there is a nice clip, I might share it on my social media. By the way, TTTS Jack Sparrow tu ada limit perkataan ke? Actually yeah. Every month there's I don't know how many thousands words limit. Why do I ask? Oh, go. Bye bye. Kejut aku. Kill me, ma. Oh. Okay, Momo, you ready? Jump. Oh. Apa ni? Masa nak redeem. Time redeem. Dalam tu time redeem. I think better like I think 100. I don't think 500 perkataan. I think 100 below 100 for the redeems. More than that, mostly they won't read. I don't know why. It's like I cannot read this. I'm unable to. Like that. It's a bunny. So if you wanna claim TTS, please be short. But please don't put anything that is very not suitable for the stream. Thank you. Do I want to do story? I think I should do story. This story. Wait, how do you do story? I haven't finished the main quest. By the way, a lot of people complain that the main quests the kind of change a bit. The main quest, they say they change it a bit. So a lot of people are very mad about it. Very, very, very mad. Angie, you know. Angie. A lot of players boycotting Nikki. But as a free-to-play, I kinda chill about it. Chill. Alright, let's continue. This one last time, oh my god. It's been lama oh. Very long. Oh my god, terkejut aku.
Fusune 2.0 sen. Macam mana nak
Kapil.
elakkan
Kapichan.
minyak terpercik ke mana-mana semasa goreng ikan?
Macam mana nak elak minyak terpercik ke mana-mana semasa gorengan. The best tips, okay, number one tips, how to prevent oil from percik-percik to you while you goreng ikan is number one, don't goreng ikan. Just go buy on Grab. Okay guys, a very useful tip from Z. Number two is don't goreng ikan, goreng ayam. Ayam is more better than fish. Okay, scan. That is my tips for today. Hope the tips is very useful for you guys, because it's very useful for Z. Pida. Alright, let's do this quest. Oh, Pida, why are you sleeping? Don't you mind?
Hello there.
You can hear
Hello, I'm
the
Peter, the guy from the
sound.
Wish Pass office. To get your pass permit, please collect the interview form and head to the cave for the interview.
Dude, you talking too fast. Why are you in a rush?
Oh, wait, we're not issuing pass permits to the public. Unless you're the investigator Miss Lucago mentioned?
Yes, I'm the mermaid investigator.
Yes, I'm the Stylist Guild's official investigator, Nikki. This is my partner, Momo. Were you just asleep?
I can't zoom, guys.
Asleep? No, no way. After a late night of playing Wish Ball, I was just resting my eyes.
Which ball?
Just because I had my eyes closed doesn't mean I'm not professional. Ask me anything about pass permits, and I'll answer right away.
So, the interview. Is it
Bagusnya,
difficult?
sungguh tidak menimbulkan kehampaan. I tell you, it's a very good tips. You can try it, guys. Try it, and you tell me what. After you try it, you give me a review, okay? You give me a 5-star on the tip or 4-star, but I know you guys will give me a 5-star. I know, guys.
Not really. Just some simple questions. Your identity and purpose. Just answer seriously. Our rejection rate is high. Since the Wish Pass office was established, we've rejected 97,839
That's a lot.
humans and
97,000 human.
34,251 non-humans.
Non-human. I guess non-human is like very. I forgot what you call.
And
Very
after
sprite.
Lord Chigda became the Wishmaster, our rejection rate increased.
Sounds pretty
Wait,
strict.
there's a fish at the clothes. Now I see. There's a fish swimming at my sleeve. That's so
We have to
cute.
be. The Wishing Woods are our
Best
precious
clothes I
home.
ever pulled.
It's just like your big human houses, but our home is the entire forest. It's where we eat, sleep, fall in love, break up, and play wish ball. Well, some things I just can't tell you now. So, we have to carefully select guests. Only those the Feywish sprites trust and recognize are allowed to enter.
Show determinations.
I'll do my best to earn your trust.
Whoa, what determination! That spirit is what keeps me going on the wish ball fields.
I think, guys, I think Pida like wish ball. I don't know what is wish ball, by the way.
Here's the interview form. Go on in, and may the wishing one bless you.
God, interview. Oh my god, interview. Barabo. Let's start there.
Achoo! I'm interviewer Barabo. Sorry, but because of the ban, there haven't been many humans here lately. the sudden smell of that lovely scent of grass and sunshine you brought in with you. It got me
See,
excited.
I know. I smell very nicely. Even Barabo agreed.
Please show your interview form.
Like a sunshine.
Great.
Let me confirm
your
your
identity.
ID. I am a cutie sprite. What happened if I answer incorrectly? I don't know. Never
I'm
mind.
Nikki, a stylist.
I just answered truthfully, guys.
Ah, no wonder. You look like an amazing stylist. Now this one in the yellow cloak.
It's a mama.
I'm Momo. I don't have an identity, but I'm Momo, Nikki's BFF.
Yes, it's Momo.
Being a friend is a wonderful
And then a Momo in other
Accompanying
Nikki
one through
game. A lot
trials
of people
life
hate
is a
Momo
lucky and beautiful thing.
because of how Momo say in the other games.
Thank you. You're a great interview.
But this Momo is so cute here in
You're welcome.
this Nikki.
Congratulations, you passed the first round of the interview. Here's your interview form back. There you go. Each answer you provide will be recorded on it. Please bring it to the next
Oh, there's
interviewer
more
and hand it to
interview.
them.
My God, I thought there's only one.
Today I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Barabo-chan. We have, I guess, 2 more. What is this red thing? It's a mushroom, guys. I need to go over there. Oh, yeah. Oh, I missed one. Is there a thing down here? I don't think so. Nope. See, I got a tail. It's cute. I got a tail. Gulu 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 gulu. What's this? Wish Pass Office Insurance Record Applicant Rosie. Origin Flourish. Origin Flourish. I'm a human stylist who love fair with pride. Although I'm still young, I definitely the person in all Flourish who have made the most wishes to visit the wishing wood. Please let me see it, even if it's just from a distance. The scenery of the wishing wood is sure to spark my creativity. Application rejected. I guess it doesn't have a good reason to be wishing. Oh, reason for rejection. This young human girl, on several occasions before formally submitting her pass permit application, attempted to infiltrate the Fairy Sprite community and nearly uncover our closely guarded secret. Ooh, what is that? Her trustworthiness is still in question. See, guys, don't do anything sassy, or nobody will trust you. Okay, guys, be a good person. Woda.
Hello there. I'm interviewer Uauda. Let me see. Nikki, stylist.
Momo.
Momo,
Besties.
bestie. Traveling together? An interesting pair. What brings you to the Wishing Woods? And no lying. I'm an expert at detecting lies.
To taste the great food. I don't even. Oh, wishing. Wishing would have food to investigate case.
I'm the Stylist Guild's official investigator, sent by Dada to investigate the mysterious coma incidents.
Oh, that. No wonder Miss Lupabo made an exception for you. Mysterious coma incidents. I've heard about them. Scary stuff. It should be investigated quickly. So then,
Yes.
Mr. Momo, you're here for the same?
Yes, Momo is. Cerita mata. Yes. Tottenham. Okay. Momo is a companion.
That's right. I'm Nikki's investigation
Yeah,
partner.
partner.
All right, one moment. Stylist
Partner in
Guild
crime, guys.
investigator. Investigating the mysterious coma incidents. Mr. Momo wears a cloak. Partner with the same goal. Okay, You've passed the second round.
Yay! We passed the
Congratulations.
second round, guys. Yay! Let's go to the third one. I know it is a third one. Oh, we can fish over there. You want guys to see how to fish? Let me teach you how to fish. First you search your fishing clues. I only have one fishing clues. Then you right click. Whee! And then you wait. You wait for the fishing. Oh, when the fish is caught, you just need to go the opposite direction of the fish. And then you right click. I'm sorry guys. And click. Oh, this is a hard fish. Bit hard. The fish.
What's this? It's even shinier than barbecue.
Whoosh.
Day has been truly
2.9 kg. That fish.
Is barbecue the only thing you think about? You could have said, I don't know. It's just really shiny.
And this one is a bit
what a
easy
haul.
fish. Need a
Let's
fish?
get a little fish.
No,
is no match for you.
hairpin roach. I think there's one more fish. See, you go the opposites. Nah, right click.
Momo, I caught it. I'm getting really good. With me cheering you on,
Hairpin.
nothing's a challenge for
Hairpin
you.
fish. Wait. Let's continue our journey. Hey, by the way, tomorrow is the new Genshin
Hi
update,
there.
right?
I'm the final interviewer, Lullabo.
Where are you, little boy? I might stream tomorrow if my internet is fine. It seems today is fine, so yeah, I'm happy today. Internet is fine.
Huh? Who's doing the talking?
I was a bit scared of my internet today. But tak nak merajuk lagi.
Me. It's me.
I
Okay.
Lullabo. A very
Please
shy
have
little
you show
interview.
me your interview form? Everything's complete. Authentic. Highly trusted by the Stylist Guild. Investigating the mysterious coma incident.
Ooh, Lullabo. Very surprised.
You're on a very important mission.
Yes, we are.
I see now.
Mm.
Even so, I still need to give you a thorough evaluation. Now, for the final question. I'm a little nervous. No need to be nervous. Tell me, right now, what's your biggest wish?
What is your guys' biggest wish, guys? For me, I guess I want too shy to say. Never mind. But if you guys have your wish, you can tell me. I love to hear
For
about it.
Fey-wish sprites, understanding someone means understanding their wishes. This is
Mine is a
extremely
bit
important to
embarrassing,
us.
so I might keep it to myself. What is my wishes? The miracle outfit can't decide. I don't know.
I want to acquire all the miracle outfits.
I guess that is the correct answer.
Wow, I've never heard of them. They must be something really amazing. When you told me, I felt your passion. Miss Stylist, these days, are you working hard to achieve your wish? I'm always working hard. It can get dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, every
But
day
I've
I
traveled to
open
so
just
many
to
interesting
do
places
dailies. I
and
didn't
heard
really
lots of
play much
moving stories.
game.
Most importantly, I've met so many new friends. They've helped and supported me on my journey to achieve my wishes. Wonderful, Miss Stylist. You're shining, just like a wish, sparkling brightly.
Aww.
And me! I've been working hard with Nikki too.
Momo. You're so cute, Momo.
You're also amazing, Mr. Momo. However, it's not your wish to acquire miracle outfits, is it?
And then Momo wish is to support Nikki.
No, it's not. But
My wish is even
Ooh,
better.
what is it, Momo?
What is it?
What I really want is to be with
Aww.
Nikki forever.
That's so cute. That's so sweet, oh, Momo.
Aw, so touching. That settles it. I declare you've passed the interview. Your interview
Yay!
form is all filled out. You may proceed. To get your pass permit, go find Miss Lupabo.
We passed the interview, guys. Thank you, Mr. Lalabo. I mean, Mrs. Or, I don't know. Oh, I can go down here. Ying.
Yup. Hey.
No, you should go there. It's down there. Oh, it's a fish. It's time to fish, guys. Yeah, fishy, 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 fishy. Yeah, fishy bite it. Yes, thank you. Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah, fishy, fishy, fishy. A little bit more. Oh, no discovery. Let's go back. Nothing down there, right? Oh, it's them again.
Such a tiny hole. What's it for?
I don't know. It may be small for you, but for me, I could just slip right through.
That's the Wish Pass office exit. If it wasn't for Geroda's request, I could have spent my whole day reading novels till clock out.
Momo, their work here seems pretty low effort.
Sure does. Oh, but don't say it so loud.
Yes, yes, keep it down.
Right. Don't say that in front of me. Let me see your interview form.
I thought we already passed the interview. Well, another interview. Supervisor, careful
Nikki.
examined.
Investigator from the Stylists Guild. Basic info. Gerota already told me about you. Thank you for taking care of him.
Taking care of him?
Anyway, I understand your investigation now, and it merits a special interview. However, we Feywish sprites have our own standards. To decide if you're trustworthy, we need to know your wish. And how you plan to go about achieving it.
Got me inside.
So, my interview results are...
Your wish and your plan to achieve it are super cool!
No.
I agree with the interviewer's judgment. You've passed.
That's great! I knew it! I knew you'd do it, Nikki!
Here's your pass permit. Take it.
Suppose Lubo give us the permit. But
It's used to make the shrinking outfit's key material,
elastic gel.
developed by the Wishcraft Lab. It's the pass permit.
It's a material. Looks like I need to acquire a shrinking outfit first.
Yes. When you wear the shrinking outfit, you can shrink.
That's
and
how
exit
we
through
go to
there.
the Vision Wood, I guess.
What about me? What should I do?
You shouldn't need one, Mr. Momo. You're about the same size as us. Anywhere we can fit, so can you.
Wow! I'm awesome!
Yes, you are, Mama.
As for Miss Nikki,
Mama's
after
so
acquiring
awesome.
the shrinking outfit, you need to shrink and come find me. I'll verify the outfit's effect before you go. This is for your safety.
No problem.
So, Nikki,
Acquire the shrinking outfit, then find Miss Lupobo to test it. I'll wait in the river valley outside the Wish Pass office.
Do I have enough material to do the shrinking outfit? Why it's still here? Acquire Starlit Burst. Allow to craft shrinking outfit. Let's go. Select all. Okay. I can craft it. Gemini Spiral. Tiny Star Wishes. So cute. The sock is cute. The shoes. Chomila. Not the clothes. Oh, let's go. I think I can craft another one. Elastic gel. Should I?
Drink, please.
Happy magic. Go inside. Thank you for the hydrate. No, it's not the hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate, P-Man. How are you, P-Man? Waka to the shoe. Ito mate. On my mic or the hello. Bless you, thank you. This malam, at night I usually, it's a bit cool here. Momo can navigate through narrow spaces. Press to jump. Press again for a double jump. L shift to dash. Got it. L shift. Left shift. Okay, got it. Show me avatar baru. Thank you. It's a new avatar. It's not. I didn't make it. Of course, I found it in the website. If you guys are interested, you can look at my Twitch profile. It's not a link. It's some in the credit session, some is linked, while other I just put name. You can just search the name, you will find it, the PNG. But I'm sorry, BMAT, there's no alpaca PNG. You have to do the alpaca one. I continue. Used to talk to supervisor. Oh, I need to use it. Me change it. What to change? I think this one I can change it into the shrinking outfit. Where? I think this one. Right? Let's use. So cute, guys. Yeah, I'm on Momo. My God, Momo jump. The sound, the run. How do you walk in this game, by the way? I don't really know. Ooh, double jump. Ooh, that is very fast. I thank you for the hearts. And thank you for the link. I don't really hear the sounds. Huh. Patanja is maximum sounds. Huh. Is my Tanja broken? Might be. No, headpad doesn't have sounds. Maybe I didn't. Later I try to adjust the volume for the other redeems. They just test stream. Oh my God, Momo walking is okay. Hello, talk to me.
Looks like the outfit works. It's just...
Nani?
Nikki shrank too much. Walking to the wishing woods is going to take her forever on her own.
I shrink too much.
Well, that's why you're here, right?
Alright, since I'm the best partner ever. Now that I'm Big Momo and you're Little Nikki, I'll carry you.
So cute. Yes, carry me, Big Momo, carry me.
Thank you, Momo. You're the most amazing and handsome partner
My
in the
god,
world.
the detail on the cloak. I can't help amazed by it.
Hold on, Nikki. Don't fall. The Momo Express is taking off.
Woohoo! Next stop, off you go.
Let's go. Ooh.
Hoi.
Wait. It's over there. What is over here? Oh. Oh, here's a star over there. Oh, it's something over there.
Huh?
Can I? Momo, why you keep looking over there? Oh!
Hoi.
I'm sorry, Momo. Belajar. Oh, I think I need to change back. And I'm sorry, Momo. I make Momo fell down. Up on the chest, by the way. Yeah, Momo. Let's go.
Huh? This thing here looks climbable.
Momo can climb wooden pillar to access the hard to reach area. Approach your pillar to start climbing using WSED to move along the pillar. Press space to jump off. Watch out for spike on the pillar that can hit. Aww. Okay. We must protect Momo, guys. Okay. Chicka chicka chick. Easy. Can I zoom? Go down, go down. Momo is so cute. My god. The sound of the climbing is cute also. Oh, there's more over there. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. There's a star, there's a star. Oh. Should I this one? You should climb the ropes. Oh, the spike. Please be careful, Momo. Oh. It's not spike, it's
The setting sun looks like a helping of delicious, savory barbecue.
Momo, you always think about barbecue. Why, Momo? Just tomato, guys. I'm analyzing the condition. I think we need to go up. Oh, spiky. Spiky, no spiky. Okay. Oh, Momo get stars. So cute. Tomato, I want to sneeze. Oh my god, my nose. Sorry guys. Oh, this is another room star over there. Right. There's something here. Ooh, a big cave. There's a monster. I take care of that. Go away. Can we go here? Momo. Oh wait. We need to go there. How about other places? haven't really explored. ちょっと待って。Let me go over there. I see a chest. No. Can you dare attack me? Oh! You guys didn't see anything. I miscalculate my step. I can't. Well, I don't think I can walk ice. Cause they say that these schools cannot go on waterfall. I think. Okay. We came from there, right? We came from there, and then we go here. Okay. There's nothing more. We go up, guys. Up. Let's go. Momo is like some material. Lemongrass. Ooh. A potter. Find a path to the Wimstar. Alright, let's go. This is wizard box. Where are we going actually? Wait. Can I zoom out? Where are we going to take this box to? I think my might go which one? Oh wait, never mind. I see it. It's a little hole. Momo, let's go. This. Never mind. Hello? I'm here. This is not the star? Oh my god, skip. Oh, maybe need Momo. Hello? Got scammed by star. The space is too narrow to change clothes. Maybe need to climbs. Okay. Is this bug? Is this bug, guys? Wasn't this supposed to be open, or is there another way? I don't see any. Oh wait, there's something on there. Can I reach it? I'm not confident, guys. But wrong button. It's a thing. I don't think I reach it. No, I don't. This is one of the hardest dungeon domain again. Oh, wait. Maybe I can jump over there. I can't do this, then we just continue with the story. I don't think I can jump here. Nope. Oh wait, I see something. Momo. How? might be noob by this. Okay, I know. And Momo need the box. Sana Momo. Go away. I mean, make way. Okay. We are hardworking Nikki. Alright, Mama. Hey! Where? Why you not jumping? Why, Momo? Why? Yeah, Momo. Yeah. That's how we do it. And now, yes. Now we can switch and the it's will open. I like that, guys. Okay. That's how do you do it. Then jump. Momo. Alright. Let's continue our journey. There's monster over there. We shall. Oh, itay. That's scary. That monster was scary. Oh, I got 10. Let's go. Oh. There's somebody take a picture here. It's very. Gonna go. Thumbs up. Very creative picture. Continue. I want to use Momo as much as I can in this buff. Meow 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 meow. I'm just a cat. Oh no. Oh, there's people here. Ah, that's actually a person. If you see like a blue seal hot, I don't know how to say. That's a person.
Wow.
Oh, we arrive at the wishing woods.
I'm not sneaking around. I'm waiting for someone. Waiting? You made some friends? You better watch it. Your grandpa was a traitor and a thief. Yet here you are, befriending weirdos. You'll get caught too.
Hey, that's not nice.
Takubo, you have no evidence. Grandpa didn't steal the Orium vase.
If the Wishmaster said so, then it is so.
I
don't trust this wishmaster.
Hang on. I'm not sure what your problem is, but you're mistaken about Jiroda. Nikki. Let me introduce myself. I'm Nikki, a stylist. The Stylist Guild sent me. I'm the investigator looking into the mysterious coma incidents. Jiroda is my assistant, and a very capable one.
Really? But his grandpa.
That is his grandpa, and there's no evidence. Okay, Dakoba. It's not nice to say that without evidence.
There's no evidence, right? Even if the Wishmaster said so, without evidence, you can't accuse someone arbitrarily. That's what I do as an investigator. Uncover the truth, without wrongfully accusing anyone, or letting the guilty go free.
You do make a really valid point. I'll think more about it. But why are you in the Wishing Woods for the mysterious coma incidents?
We've uncovered important clues. They imply that the incidents are connected to the Wishing Woods.
What? How is that possible?
Don't panic. To ensure everyone's safety, we'll investigate quickly. Right now, we have more questions than answers. So, Please cooperate with our investigation.
All right. What do you need to know?
Lately, have there been any odd occurrences in the Wishing Woods? Like suspicious Feywish sprites, odd wish bottles, signs of human activity? These are the anomalies we'll start with, to uncover the truth.
Huh? But I haven't heard of anything like that.
So nothing happens. And nothing like that happens.
You could ask Affubo over at the
Affubo?
Wish Inspection Center. She'd know of anything weird.
Wish Inspection Center?
It's where they sort wishing orbs. All the wishes we collect from the Dream Warehouse goes to the inspection center. It's sorted into delicious wishing orbs,
Delicious?
bizarre wishing orbs, and desperation orbs.
Do you eat the wishing orb?
Shh! That's scary! Don't say that name!
What name?
Anyway,
Desperation
Affubo really
wishing
loves
orbs?
oddities and strange things.
Huh.
She once said she heard human voices at midnight.
Could it be the mysterious wishing wood?
Ah! Stop it! Now get going. Keep going straight past the river valley and you'll see the inspection center. Oh, wait! No, it's blocked now. You can't get
No.
through.
Blocked? Why?
Because Timmy's cart is stuck at the valley
Now who's
exit.
Timmy's? Timmy's, why are you leaving your card there?
You mean
Timmy's?
Timmy's the cosmetics merchant?
Get your card. Timmy's?
Huh? You know her?
Oh,
Because
it's the
famous.
the small
work for
kid.
her.
The
I'm her
small
makeup
elf.
interior
Not
assistant.
kids, I'm sorry.
Lately, she's been working on new materials. She bought a ton of materials. A ton. But all the weight flipped her cart right at the valley exit. She's stuck.
Timmy's.
Also, a crucial material is missing. Everybody is busy looking for it. Nobody will help with the cart.
Timmy's must be so stressed out. Dakabo? Where is she? We can help.
That would be great. She's with the stuck cart up ahead. Go take a look.
Alright, guys. We shall open this. Let's go. We a bit more to reach 57. Level 57. Is there anything here? Nothing. I guess so. Level 24, my battle pass. Alright. I'm gonna stop here my stream. You see over there, that is a person. You can cope with her. Cope. There's a new function on Nikki, cope functions. Haven't really do it co-op because I'm shy. Oh yeah, and you can DIY workshops. You can choose a hair you like and then you can color it. Let me see. Example this one. Is there any pink? Oh, it's a brown. This one is the free one. I kinda like the green. The blue is nice also. Ooh, wow. This is nice. The green. Just chocolates. There's no pink. There is. Wait, one palette consumes six stars. Damn. They'll have a lot of palettes. And people say for one dye, for one hair, you mean if you unlock this one, you will only unlock for this hair. It's not for all hair, unfortunately. Yeah, they're making it, I don't know how about to say. This one, why the hair is like a bowl? No, okay, never mind, the bang. But the highlight is very nice. Oh, this one doesn't have highlight, only the green. Oh, this one have, only the blue doesn't. This one is red, it's pink. It's so shiny. I don't really have a favorite thing. Mostly I use this hair. This one only pink. Let me see. What happened if we choose the pink one again? The pink palette. Oh, it's disabled because it's already pink. Huh. And the blue also is. Oh my god, the blue is so nice. Why? Why? Wait. Oh wait. You can adjust the glossy of the hair. Ah. Okay, I'm discovering something, guys. You know, if people like purple, you can like change to purple. You can have matte hair. Doesn't have a lot of glossy, or you can full gloss. Full gloss, no gloss. Full gloss, no gloss. But I like glossy hair. Not that much, but okay. The default one is nice. The blue is also nice. Okay. Yeah, just looking around. Yes. Let's collect a lot of things that can be collected. And then just gonna end our stream. Never mind. Alright. Happy the end of our stream for today. I just testing my stream and alhamdulillah my internet was fine today. Let me close my game first. Let's see game. I was lucky to have 3 5-star in one pool. I mean 10 pool, one pool. Hi guys, I got to the stream. Not sleeping yet. What is otsuosu means? Sorry, I don't know Japanese by the way. Hello, ada lag sikit tadi. Sakit. I appreciate all lurkers. Otsu tak apa miss ko. Kaze-chan. Nani daski. You know, my TikTok is full of that. Otsu-chan, thank you. Ateya. Welcome. Thank you also for the alert, by the way. The committed anyone. You know, so cute. But I do shy to do it. Right. That's it all for our Nikki. Tak stream ke malam ni, Kaze? Ke sekejap lagi nak stream ni? Should I rate anyone? I don't think anyone is online. Oh, can't see chat. Kejap lagi. Okay, good luck streaming. I'll be ending soon. Tak ada rate kot. Dah malam. Tidur. Pukul 1 pagi. Jom kita tidur, guys. Let's go to sleep. Thank you guys for coming to my stream. Thank you for the support, Kaze. And hope you guys like all my new overlay PNG transition pulling session tadi. And thank you everyone. And see you guys tomorrow insyaAllah. I'll be playing the Genshin new update maybe. I don't know lah. Ini kadang cakap je. Kita tengok internet lah. Kalau internet okay, Z stream. Kalau tak boleh nak stream. Alright. Thank you for coming. See you guys again. Bye bye. No rate by the way. It's already 1 PM. 1 AM. Bye. See you.